CQ 40 meters, kilowatt 0, radio Whiskey Bravo. Call in CQ 40, CQ 40 meters, CQ 40 meters, CQ 40 meters, CQ 40 meters, CQ, kilowatt 0, radio Whiskey Bravo. Call in CQ, any station, anywhere. CQ 40 meters, CQ 40 meters, CQ 40 meters, CQ 40 meters, kilowatt 0, radio Whiskey Bravo. Call in CQ, any station, anywhere.
Kilo November 4, Yankee November Victor.
Kilo November 4, Yankee November Victor?
That is correct, KN4YNV. And can I get your call sign again?
You sure can. The call here is kilowatt 0, radio Whiskey Bravo. The name is Randy. We're 35 miles east of downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Go ahead.
Roger that. Well, I've got you 59 plus. I'm just outside of Atlanta, Georgia, to the east of the city, in a town called Wilburn.
Yeah, okay, 5 minutes. We got you pulled up there, Julian. Hey, thanks for giving us a call back. We were out here earlier, 2 o'clock Central till about 3, and we had some things we had to get done, so we had to cut it short. And we told some folks we'd come back out again later on. And we're in what they call Studio B, which is the alternate shack here in the house. And you're going to laugh at me when I tell you, but the antenna is about 4 foot off the ground and 10 feet in total length. Roger?
Well, that's pretty amazing. How many watts are you running?
Oh, probably around 300, I think, right now there. Go ahead.
Roger that. Well, I'm on a MaxCon off-center bed dipole up about 35 feet, running 100 watts through an old Kenwood TS930X.
Oh, that's terrific. Yeah, fine business. Yeah, we know the equipment for sure. I didn't think I'd be able to really get any contacts per se, but boy, the first one to Atlanta, no complaints. We spent our time there in Georgia back in the day. We lived down in Valdosta for about 3 years, but we traveled up quite often in Atlanta. The late 80s, early 90s, when the Braves were really, really good. We did enjoy watching them there, Roger.
Yeah, Roger that. Well, it looks like last night kind of stunk for opening day, but hope springs eternal, and maybe they'll get back to the series. I'd like to see that again.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. If they've had a little bit of a dry spell, I certainly did enjoy the Bobby Cox years and Tom Glavine and Sid Bream and the guys way back in the day, and Chipper Jones was a player that we followed quite a little bit and enjoyed watching him play. So yeah, maybe it's about time to come around again. We got our stint back in 14 and 15 when the Royals went back-to-back World Series, but they won the second one. So yeah, it felt pretty good. It's spring. The season just started, and I think everybody's got a chance at this point there, Roger.
Your signal is going between a 5 and 5.
Yeah, Roger. Well, we did a little hasty there. This antenna is called an MP1, made by Super Antenna. It is basically a manual screwdriver, and again, it's 4 foot off the ground. We've got it tuned for 40 meters. The biggest thing about making the antenna work is we have ground radials that are cut for each specific band. So we've got 4 ground radials laid out in a triangle pattern, and that seems to work for us there, Roger.
Oh, Roger, yeah, you're clear as day now. The band just changed just a wee bit in your favor. Sounds great. I've seen those advertised before, those little MB1s. It looks like a neat little antenna.
It works out real well for portable work, and that's what we bought it for back in 2016. We did the National Parks on the Air program and really enjoyed that. And it's a great antenna that works quite well as long as you've got the right ground radials. That seems to be the big ticket. And through trial and error, we came up with just cutting the ground radials for each band. So we have a set for 17, 20, and 40. It will go down to 10 meters. It won't do 6. And then with the right extension, you can also do 80 meters with it. But this works real well for us. Like I said, you just use a little tripod that's 4 foot off the ground, and the antenna from the ground to the tips maybe 10 foot. And we let, it seemed to do its thing, which is kind of fun. And I don't know if I told you or not, but we're also streaming live on YouTube. We do a channel every afternoon, generally 2 o'clock Central, and on Fridays we do 40-meter Fridays. And as I said earlier, we got cut short at 2 o'clock and had to shut it down, but we came back out again. And so if you're interested in listening to yourself on the air, you could go to my channel and listen to the playback there, Roger.
See what happens. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, we've been doing this for about 9 weeks, and of course we're not the only one. There's a lot of people doing it longer than I have, but I don't know of anybody that's in the Midwest. There's quite a few operators along the East Coast that do it, and it's just a little something different, with amateur radio. Not that people will really want to look at my ugly face on the air per se, but it is interesting that you're able to listen to yourself on the air on playback. And not only what I do on the screen is I have a meter that shows signal strength, but I also have an audio scope and an audio spectrum, so you can look at your audio variations on the wave pattern, and you can also see the peaks and valleys on your transmit audio on the oscilloscope there, Roger.
Probably about 10 seconds or so, and but man, that is really cool. Yeah, this is kind of neat.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with it. Yeah, generally there's about a 20 or 30-second delay, and it's going through the internet, it's going through different servers and so forth. And I think another reason for that, in case there's some language that shouldn't be put across the air as well, then they have a way of maybe shutting that down. We've never had that issue, of course, but that's okay. But yeah, we just gave you a wave, of course, that just shows you we're live. And this, like I said, this is Studio B, which is in the downstairs area, and Studio A is upstairs. But we wanted to get the antenna up and running. We want to do some things this weekend, so we just thought we'd hook the antenna up. Everything else is setting them up down here pretty straightforward. We're running an IC 7300. There's quite a few out there, of course, and a Heil ICM microphone paired with it. And then the amplifier is an old Ten-Tech Hercules 2, and again, about 300 to 350 watts on the peaks there, Roger. Yeah, that's great. Hey, congratulations for that. Just in the time that I've been doing the streams, I've talked of a lot of operators that have either let their license lapse and they've gotten their ticket again, or first-time operators in the last year. Of course, it kind of makes sense. And it's really kind of nice to see that, because you need to have new operators, coming into the hobby, and younger ones as well, and so forth. And I think it's a great thing. It says a lot about the hobby. There's something for everyone. If you want to work phone or CW or digital modes or RTTY, you can do that. And there's a price point for everybody. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money to get on the air and be successful with it. So I think it's a great hobby. You meet some of the nicest people in the world from all different backgrounds, demographics, and economic scales, but it doesn't make a difference, because we've got one thing in common, and that's radio, and it does make it for a really great hobby. Roger?
Roger that, absolutely. Yeah, I started out with a PS 680 fun, no just barefoot, and I tell you what, it's been a lot of fun. And then after I really got a hanker for a Baxter rig, so that's when I bought the TS 930.
Yeah, that's great. That is great. And you know, it's not uncommon. We've all kind of started like that over the years, and it's generally a progression. You know, you don't build shacks overnight, but I think if you start at the bottom with the basics and you learn theory and technology, I think you seem to appreciate more as things go on and so forth. And we've made a few upgrades. We bought the 7300 in January after having a Kenwood for about 10 years, and it's amazing what you can do with these radios now and so forth. But it still comes back to antenna theory and low SWRs, RFI impedance, and so forth. So that's really the bottom line. And then the main factor, of course, is propagation.
Roger that, absolutely. The cost of propagation.
Hey, Julian, I'm going to see if we can make a few more there real quick. And before we get cut off again, we've only got about an hour or so. But gosh, hey, thank you so much for the first contact between us, and thank you for Georgia. I don't think you and I'd be able to talk on 20 meters. Maybe that's possible. I'm not sure, but it's certainly nice to work you here on 40. Anyway, yeah, give a listen there on the live stream. See what you think about it. And like I said, we do this during the week, 2 o'clock Central. And on Fridays, we do 40-meter Fridays. And so we usually come down here, able to grab some stations a little bit closer to home and so forth. And then also on Wednesdays, we have a gift card giveaway from a local amateur radio store that's here in the metro. And if you're interested in signing up, qualifying, registering, however you want to put it, there's information on my QRZ page, or you can go to the live chat and put in your call sign and then type in K0RWB, Kilo 4 Papa. That's a kidney for Papa Phil, who's a ham up in Michigan that's in need of a kidney. So we're trying to create some awareness and maybe some testing to help him as well. So we're just trying to do our small part and having fun doing it in the same time. So I'll say 7-3s for now, and thank you once again. Have a great weekend. Be safe and be well, and look forward to working you again. Kilo November 4, Yankee November Victor, Kilowatt 0, Radio Whiskey Bravo, 7-3s. Yeah, same to you as well. This is K0RWB, QRZ, any station, anywhere.
Kilo Mike 4, Delta Juliet 0.
Okay, I think I heard a Kilo Mike 4 again.
Kilo Mike 4, Delta Juliet Sierra, QSL.
Okay, if my computer will catch up with me, Kilo Mike 4, Delta Juliet Sierra. Hugh, how are you this evening?
Doing fine. I appreciate you taking my call. Over.
Yeah, no problem, sir. We just got back out here about 15 minutes ago. We were out here on 40 meters earlier, about 2 o'clock Central, for about an hour, and we had to shut it down with some things that we needed to get done. But we wanted to get back out here at least for another hour before the band dies on us here. And we're doing a live stream that we do every afternoon. We've got the channel up and going now, and so we're live, and we're doing the recording on the QSOs. Again, the name here is Randy. And we are 35 miles east of downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Go ahead.
Well, my name is Hugh at Hotel Uniform Golf Hotel, and of course, you stay up in Lexington, Kentucky. Over.
I see that. Yeah, very fine. Good. Again, another part of the country that I don't get into very often, because I'm usually running 17 and 20. And then on Fridays, we come down here on 20 meters, and it's nice to be able to work part of the country that we usually don't. We've got a good friend of ours in Louisville that has helped us out radio-wise, and we work him a little bit on 40 meters, so I'm glad to see the band is doing well. You're about 5 and 7, 5 and 8 in my receive there, Roger. Yeah, I appreciate that. Like I said, the last caller, you'd probably laugh if I told you, but we wanted to get this antenna up and running. This is an MP1 by Super Antenna, which is a manual screwdriver, and it's 4 foot off the ground, 10 feet in total length, and we've got 4 ground radials cut for 40 meters, and that's all we're running, Roger.
Explain that again, please. Over.
Yeah, it's called an MP1. Mike Papa -1. It's made by Super Antenna, and it is basically a manual screwdriver. It is on a tripod that is 4 foot off the ground, and then you can tune it up and down between 10 meters to 40 meters. And I run 4 ground radials, which is nothing but speaker wire, but they are cut for 40 meters, and that's all I'm running, Roger.
Really? My gosh, you're sounding very good. Over.
You know, I've heard that before, and I thank you for saying that. Here's the biggest thing I've noticed when I got the antenna is it gave you a generic ground radial, which was nothing but computer ribbon. But the key for this antenna is if you cut ground radials for each specific band you want to use, it makes a world of difference. I run 8 ground radials on 20 meters, and it works phenomenally. Same way of 17 meters. And I bought this antenna to use for the National Parks on the Air program in 2016, and it worked as good as anything else I've ever had there, Roger.
Well, I'm running 100 watts, and I've got a dipole I'm calling right now that it's about 35 feet up in a tree and goes across my lawn here, but it does a pretty good job. But what you're telling me is something I would be very interested in. Over.
Yeah, you know, I just happened to stumble across it a couple years ago. You know, I don't know just really how popular they are. I've heard of several operators that have run it. You can certainly Google it. Of course, I get nothing from this, of course, but I'm just really impressed with the antenna. You can just you can Google Super Antenna or MP1, and it'll pop up, and they make different variations. You can actually buy the 80-meter add-on kit, and you could work 80 meters. But again, for my situation and my experience, the key is having the ground radials cut specifically. That makes all the difference, at least for me, Roger.
Well, I can understand that, but my gosh, that sounds wonderful. I have a condo down in Florida that I have addictions at the time, trying to get an antenna that'll work real well because all the you get the metal buildings around you because they're all down there. They got metal, and so I got to make sure that it's away from my patio so it'll work. And that's where I have a problem. Over.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'll tell you another funny. I did a portable ops one day at one of the local lakes, and I put it out in the water about 3 foot, so the tripod was still visible, of course, and just let the ground radials float. And I got terrific reports because of because of the water. You hear it all the time on the salt water, but it worked just as well in the lake as well there, Roger.
Well, that's very interesting. Yeah, I'll check the antenna out. That's something that I would find very helpful towards getting a better antenna in that area because the one that works sometimes it doesn't. Over.
Yeah, you know, in any situation, I think they all do quite well. I mean, I've got a QRP long wire that I can run that will work, but you got to have a mast and set it up and all this kind of stuff. And this folds down into about a 12-inch diameter. Even the stinger up top is a collapsible antenna. So it'll compact down to about a foot, comes with its own carrying bag, comes with its own C-clamp to clamp onto a picnic table or anything. It is designed as a portable antenna, and it does a phenomenal job. It's just amazing what it does. And it's not going to be the same as my 40-meter dipole on the side of the tower, but that's why I'm running tonight, to see what it does and how it works for everybody. Roger?
That sounds very interesting. I'm always looking for something that's portable and easy to set up. I'm in an area here in Kentucky where they will not allow me, because of the HOA, to put a sizable antenna in the backyard. Just will not. So I came up with this idea. You can't see it from the street, which is a good thing. They did allow me to put in it's a Comet
K0RWB, which is a race against a vertical antenna that has to be close to my house. That can't be seen from the sidewalk. And it does a pretty decent job, but still it's a vertical. Over.
Yeah, I certainly know what you mean. It's kind of a game you play trying to hide antennas. So I don't have that issue here, but I know a lot of people who do. And again, amateur radio operators, we're a creative bunch. We'll figure out a way to make things work and get in the air, of course. One other thing I did want to add on the when you're tuning this thing up and down on the coil, it actually comes with a little cheat sheet that you hold right next to it, so you know where to kind of set it for 17, where to set it for 20, where to set it for 40 meters, and that way you're really close. I mean, I use an analyzer, and it takes me about 30 seconds to get it dialed in. And right now, when I dial it in just temporarily, it's running 1.3 to 1. So, and I didn't really dial it in any better than that because I think that's good enough. But you could get it 1 to 1, and there again, that's going to be better for you.
Wow, that is very. Yeah, I'll definitely look them up. Super antenna, huh? I'll definitely see what they have there, because that would be a quick fix for me in this area down in Florida. Over.
Yeah, I think so. This is how the conversation started with me. I was doing the same thing you were. I was like, well, I'm looking for an antenna that I can use that's not going to be, it's going to be kind of inconspicuous, that's easy to set up, it's fast to set up, and would work pretty well. And again, when you're working these different national parks, you may not have a whole lot of room and space to do so. And this really did work for me. And, again, I don't know. I haven't talked to a lot of operators who run it, so I don't know how popular it is. I go to their website from time to time. They are still in business, of course, and there's Buddy Poles and all the other antennas out there as well, and I'm sure they work good. I have no experience with them, but this here worked for me. It was the right price, and again, I've not had no complaints. I'm making a contact to Lexington, Kentucky, so I don't think it's working too bad, Roger.
No, it's working very good, I'll be honest with you. So you're as clear as a bell. Over.
Well, I appreciate that. I've got a little noise on my end, but I've got no problem hearing you. And like I said, you might get a kick out of it, but since I'm doing my live stream, if you want to listen to our QSO, you could just go to YouTube and put in my call sign, and you can actually listen to the playback, Roger.
I'll definitely do that. Well, that'd be very interesting on my part. Really hear what I sound like on the radio. Over.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun thing. We don't get that opportunity very often to hear ourselves on the air, and it is kind of a neat deal. I did it in the beginning because I sounded terrible in my headphones, and it sounded worse on the playback. So I used it to make some adjustments for me, and it got better. And this setup here works pretty well. But if I was up on the primary base, it'd probably sound a little different as well. But for tonight, this is going to be fun enough, Roger. No, my pleasure as well, Hugh. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Again, I had no idea if it was going to work tonight, what kind of shape the band was in, but we've made a couple of contacts, one down in Georgia, now up in your neck of the woods, so I think it's doing okay, and we're going to make a few more before we'll shut it down tonight for good, but I do appreciate you doing that. And like I said, go to my channel, give a look and a listen, and see what you think. It's kind of fun. And like I said, we're generally out here 2 o'clock Central during the week. And on Fridays, we come down here on 40 meters. And if you hear us again, give us a call. We'll just pick it up where we left off. But email if you got any more questions on the antenna or something. I'd be more than happy to help you because people help me, and I'm more than happy to pay it forward. So anyway, 7-3s, enjoy your evening. Please be safe and be well. Look forward to working you again. Kilo Mike 4, Delta Juliet Sierra, Kilowatt 0, Radio Whiskey Bravo, 7-3s.
Kilowatt 0, Radio Whiskey Bravo, Kilo Mike 4, Delta Juliet Sierra 73.
You bet. 732 K0RWB, Randy, Kansas City, QRZ. Where did they all go? K0RWB, Randy, Kansas City, calling CQ, QRZ, any stations, anywhere.
Alpha Alpha 5 Juliet Sierra AA5JS.
Oh, nice signal, James. Thank you very much. Alpha Alpha 5 Juliet Sierra. Big signal. Hey, thanks for giving us a call. Again, the name here is Randy, for 35 miles east of downtown Kansas City, Missouri. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, Randy. You got my handle there. We're in Abilene, Texas, you probably know. So, anyway, we used to live in northeast Missouri. We had a farm up there, and then we moved down here to Abilene. So, we're somewhat familiar there with Missouri. That's where I grew up in northeast Missouri, there around Kirksville. You may have heard of it there, Randy. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went to school 2 years at Northeast Missouri State back in the day, and I think now they call it Truman State. So, yeah, we stomped around those parts of the country, Roger.
Yeah, copy that. I graduated from there, one of the places I went to school at, and we lived 23 miles northwest of Kirksville there. So, I just came in there, heard John talking about the antenna. I'm always interested in antennas, so it's doing a good job for you. So that's a good deal. I think I'd heard one before, and it was doing a good job too. So anyway, they must be pretty good. I don't know what the magic trick, if there is one, to it or whatever, but anyway, it's working for you there. So how many watts you running there, Randy?
I think it's showing just about 300. We don't want to push it too much, of course, but we like to be able to make some contacts as well. So it's doing about 300. Again, the biggest thing for me that worked was having the ground radials cut for each band. When I bought it, it came with this ribbon. I call it computer ribbon tail, and it was just one length. And it may have worked on one band, but it didn't do worth a darn on the others. And I talked to a few operators that have them, and was actually making some questions on different forums, and they all came back and said, try cutting the ground radials different. And I did, and it's just it's really changed it. It's an unusual antenna. I mean, it looks like a screwdriver you'd have on a mobile. Only you have to move it up and down. It's a manual screwdriver, but it just, for some reason, it just works.
Yeah, copy that. Yeah, it is working. You're solid S7 peaking like S8, so that's real good. So anyway, we're talking to you on two antennas. We have a 40-meter full-wave loop and a 40-meter off-center fed dipole co-feeding them. So we've got a FTDX 3000, and we've got a solid-state Mercury 3S amp, and we're running about 1,200 watts there, Randy. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Is that a Mercury amp? I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, Mercury 3S, yes.
Yeah, I thought so. I've got a friend of mine down in Florida that has one that he built, and I've got another one up in Long Island that has one as well. And it is a very unique antenna. I think it's a pretty cool setup.
Yeah, I've had it, 3 weeks or a month or something, and I really like it. I like to play around with the antennas. I had one of the requirements, I had a ALS 600S solid state, and it'd do about, peak out about 600 watts, and I thought, well, what can I do to get a little more wattage? And I was trying to get a solid state, but I wanted to keep it on 120 volts and not have to rewire for 240. And so the only thing I could find was AL80B. So I got an 80B and used it. I get about 900 watts. And then this came along, so I can you can just change the plug and plug it in 240 or 120, whatever you want. So anyway, it's very efficient, so I can run it and get 1,200 watts on, or 1,200 plus actually on 120 volt, 20 amp circuit. So anyway, it's kind of neat, and like I say, I like to play around with antennas, so it makes it so much handier. If I change an antenna, I'd make me up a chart there for 80B for for the antenna, but if I change the antenna, then I'd have to check and see if the tuning was the same, and usually it's something that changed a little bit, and they have to make me a new chart. Well, I don't have to mess with that nowadays, so that's one of the big advantages. K0RWB AA5JF.
No, and that's a big difference. Again, simplicity can go a long way, and I've heard nothing but great things about the amplifier. I would be really hesitant to show my face if I came home with another amplifier. So I would have to pass. But you know, I've heard some great things about it. My wife would not be happy. I've got 2 amplifiers, so I try to do redundant systems. We have backups, and that's really about it. And I think it's like a lot of operators. If she knew what things actually cost, I'd probably be in a whole lot more trouble, Roger.
Yeah, copy that. Well, your signal's moved up. You're S9 to 5 over S9 now. So what'd you do? Go out there and pour water on the radio?
No, I saw the dogs out there a while ago. I've got 1 male and 1 female. I think they maybe watered the lawn, helped me a little bit.
There you go. Well, anyway, I just got through, about an hour ago, I thought, well, I've got some Epsom salt. I put that on the ground rods occasionally. I hadn't done it for a while, so I put some out there and got the garden hose on there and watered the ground rods down. I have a couple of them in the backyard that I ground stuff to, so I don't know if it makes any difference. It makes me feel better anyway. Randy, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand that as well. I've never heard about the Epsom salts, but it would certainly make sense. I didn't know exactly if that was a wife tale or not, but sounds like it's working for you, Roger.
Yeah, okay. Well, I hadn't been on today, and the wife, she'd gotten some rose bushes, and so the other day she said, well, I need 5 post holes out here, and that was yesterday, so I had to go dig her 5 post holes, and so then she was she hadn't been in the pots yet, she was going to transplant them, and so anyway, we had these flex hose deals, that shrivels up when you turn them on.